Welcome back. Today we are not casting any storm spells, and you can thank Andre for that. Andre, we do appreciate your continued support here at the Epic Storm. But today we are playing modern Esper Reanimator with a little bit of a twist. We're playing an artifact package for Thirst for Knowledge that features Wurmcoil Engine, Sphinx of the Steel Wind, and Inkwell Leviathan as Reanimator targets. If you're coming here from a legacy perspective, you're probably thinking, where's Griselbrand? Fair question. In Modern, there's no real good way of abusing Griselbrand because the Reanimate spell Persist says non-legendary on it. And then Unmarked Grave also says non-legendary on it, so even your Entomb doesn't get legendary creatures. So kind of an issue. Because of that, we don't play legendary creatures. I think it's actually pretty good design by Wizards to not include legendary, if I'm being honest. But instead, our main target is Archon of Cruelty, and then these large creatures. That's the idea. Andre created this artifact package, but also Dakkon Shadow Slayer, which comes into play with counters on it equal to the number of lands you control. You can surveil 2, you can exile a creature, so you do get a little bit of a control package with Dakkon, and then you can put a creature into play with the ultimate. So fits the theme of this deck. It's kind of cute. It's on color. It is Esper. And the real thing that makes this deck work is Faithful Mending. Blue-white got a pseudo Faithless Looting, kind of comparable to Is It Charm in a way, but that makes it so that this I don't know what to call it, the Shard, there we go, is now the Reanimator colors. So kind of cool for Modern. There's not really a whole lot of 1-drops in this deck, so it can be a little bit slow outside of this card Consider, which I'll be honest, I hope at least once this league you get to live the dream of turn 1 Consider, hit a creature into turn 2 Persist. That would be incredibly sweet. I hope it happens. The idea for the sideboard is that in matchups where we need to, we can board out of the Reanimator plan into a control deck, which I think is kind of interesting. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you once again, Andre. I do appreciate your continued support here. I really, really do. And if you want to be like Andre, you can always go to, I didn't have it open already, I'm sorry, theepicstorm.com/donation decks to submit your combo deck to be featured here on this very YouTube channel. You can also go to theepicstorm.com/shop to pick up card singles, as well as sweet, sweet Storm merchandise, including our, mini token pack. It took me a second, but I got it. Normally I set this up first, but I just wanted to get playing today, so please forgive me. But oop, I messed everything up. There we go. Wow, I am punting this intro. Just awful. Yeah, anyway, those are ways that you can support us. Always like, comment, subscribe. Those things are free to do. We also have the join button next to the subscribe button where you can become a member, unlock member perks, all that good stuff. Not going to do a long intro today. I just kind of want to hop right on in and finish this awful introduction. So this is the deck list. You can thank Andre. Andre's the best. And let's go reanimate some large creatures. Welcome to match number 1 with Esper Reanimator. Modern Reanimator, let's see how it goes. So we have a looting effect, and we have Persist. I could theoretically live the dream right here of turn 1 Consider into turn 2 Persist. Wow, tongue twister. We're going to try to make that happen, so we're going to keep this. Our opponent taking a mulligan. Okay. I would love it if it happened. Come on, deck. Okay, so likely some sort of Primeval Titan deck. Alright, Consider, do your thing. Let's see an Archon. Yes! I even called it! Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, that is so awesome. Get bodied. Okay, let's Persist. I think I'm supposed to get the planes here. Okay, Persist. Oh! I hope you're happy, Andre. Wow. Hard evidence. I have no clue what our opponent's doing. Yeah, that was sweet. Oh, they're this deck. Okay. so let's attack. That's pretty free to do. Alright, to fairy. I think we're supposed to Unmarked Grave for another Archon. Or Archon, I'm sorry. We can bottom, we don't need another temple. Okay, so this is where they cast their mono red polymorph into some giant creature. Or they can concede. That's fine with me too. Alright, so we got kind of lucky that game. I'm not going to pretend that that was skill. Why did Card Hoarder give me 4 different counterspells? I must have owned one. I didn't think I did, but apparently we have different counterspells. I'm sorry. We most likely want these Force Negations. Maybe against the Polymorph deck we don't want Prismatic Ending, so that can go out. 3 cards have to come out. Honestly, I don't know how good this Thirst for Knowledge package is, so let's cut 2 of those. We can leave 2 in to make Andre happy. Probably don't need Sphinx of the Steel Wind. I don't know, I guess they are. They're playing a lot of red. Torn here. Alright, goodbye, Snap. Honestly, Collective Brutality might not have been bad either. I should have considered boarding that in. Speaking of consider, we've opened one up, and let's try this. We also have this Force Negation. Kind of nice that Sphinx is a blue card to pitch to Force if need be. Draw. Would you consider that? Put that on the bottom, we don't need that. Petria Triome. You can have a Striker Rich. Unmarked Grave. Okay, so next turn... I'm sorry, in 2 turns we can do the whole reanimate thing. I think I'm actually supposed to bottom that. We already have 1. And I just need a creature to reanimate more than I need another reanimation spell. Is this it? The fairy. Okay, let's get rid of Sphinx. I want to keep the considers. One has 4 cards in it. Let's try to find a counterspell here. I am getting very lucky with my names. Alright, so I'm playing the temple here, and it's not a random chance decision. So this way, let's say that our opponent doesn't do anything. Or even if our opponent does do something, we can counterspell. That, like, let's say our opponent does something. That's like something they can do. If they don't do anything, I can unstep unmark. Oh, this is a sorcery. They're both sorceries. I didn't realize that. I thought that was an instant. Okay, so that part doesn't really matter. But I was going to say unstep. I could untomb unstep and then or counterspell and then untap and do both. I guess my game plan is just do both. So that wasn't as clever as I thought it was. I could have swore Unmarked Grave was an instant and Persist was a sorcery. I don't think I want to tap out next turn. I feel like I'm going to get punished if I do. This is a strange deck. Now they get their dwarf for polymorphing. Okay, consider. Yes, I'd like to put that to the graveyard. Another consider. I think I'm going to keep that one. Draw a blue card. Technically a blue card. I think I want to play this a little bit cautiously and just entomb right now, and then next turn I can have double counter backup. Get a white source. Oops, that is not how you cast that spell. Okay. Let's add a black. Unmarked Grave. You know what? Let's just reanimate now. I have force backup. And this gets rid of their polymorph creature. Auto yield. You're allowed to Veil of Summer. Okay, so they got to keep their polymorph creature. Now we have to hope that the Force of Negation's good enough. I didn't consider Veil of Summer. I probably should have after seeing Stomping Ground. But had I thought about it, I wouldn't have tapped out. Ready to get blown out here? Yeah, and I could have had the counter spell too. That's kind of spicy. But I think I'm dead here. Oh, that hurts. I'm taking 12. Did I see that right? Oh, they're killing my Archon too. That's not very nice. Okay, so I clearly messed up by tapping out. It makes me not want to bring in Collector Brutality though. I guess Teferi ends up being pretty good if they're a Veil of Summer deck. You can also bounce their tokens. I'm gonna get rid of the Wurmcoil. I don't think that's like the sort of card that this matchup's actually about. Alright, another chance. Sure. Alright, so we have turn 1 Consider, turn 2 Faithful Mending, turn 3 Persist. Or I can be lucky and hit an Archon again off this Consider. Might as well say it out loud. It went well the first time, right? Okay, so we're going to shock here, getting Watery Grave. Consider. That to the graveyard. Eh. Okay, that was a good draw. Faithful Mending is an instant, so I don't need to tap out for that. Okay, Catcher Triumph. I'll allow it. I'm a little bit worried about the Sphinx being bounced by the Fairy, but there's not a whole lot that I can do about that. I mean, I can force Teferi, but if they have like protection too. That said, if they play Teferi on 3, they won't have Veil of Summer up, so I'm probably just being a big baby. Faithful Mending. Okay, so I think I'm going to reanimate the Archon, or Archon, whatever. Persist. If they have Veil of Summer again, they can protect the crab. Yep. Temple. Leave that one on top. Pretty good for us. Okay. So it's going to be tough for them to protect whatever they're trying to do this turn if it's Teferi or, you know, the you know, whatever it's called, Indomitable something. I can't remember. I can't be bothered with knowing card names. Come on. Okay, so we're drawing the Persist. Let's get in there before we do anything else. I want the most information possible. Okay. Consider. Yes, I would love to put that to the graveyard. And let's play the Temple, get our Scry in. Get another Archon. Ugh. Okay, don't hurt me. Opponent's on 3 cards now. We've won our first match. Reanimator looking pretty good. I don't know if I played that well that round, but this deck carried me. And we got a turn 2 Archon of Cruelty, which is pretty sweet, at least in my opinion. Hopefully you enjoyed that. 4 more delightful rounds of Esper Reanimator coming right on up. Match number 2, and we've opened up Persist once again, so I'm going to keep this. And just hope to get super lucky with a Consider once again. Marsh, okay. So many temples. So if we find a fatty off this, we can actually keep it on top, like this, and then upkeep, Consider it away. Not sure what our opponent's doing, though, so I don't know how good Inkwell Leviathan will be. It looks like this is the Citadel deck, where I don't think Inkwell's that good. But I guess it is a 3-turn clock. Okay, another Mending. Let's keep that on top. It gives us a white source for the Mending. So next turn we're going to Persist and play Temple. And that allows us on the turn after to Faithful Mending plus Persist if we hit another creature. Okay. Oh, this is just the Yawgmoth deck. Okay. I didn't realize that the Yawgmoth deck was playing this now. Yep. Ouch. Okay, Persist. And then Temple. Don't need that. In theory, we can also play Dakkon next turn, but I don't know how good that actually is. Like, what are, like, I don't want to kill Drelf's Messenger, for example. Right now, Inkwell is a 4-turn clock. And there's the Yawgmoth. I guess the Shroud comes up pretty nicely here. I think we're supposed to kill the Yawgmoth. Okay, so white, blue, black. Dakkon. And now they have to decide what they're going to do. Okay, that was a pretty good exchange for us, I think. Insert the beats. If I had to guess, our opponent's going to attack us for 3 next turn, bringing us to 11, and then the Innkeeper will kill Dakkon. And then next turn we can cast Faithful Mending, and then possibly Persist. We can also Snapcaster back and consider if we had a land. There's some interesting decisions. Okay. It's a shame we don't have something like Massacre Worm or something in the deck. Alright. Another bird. One that has one card, or one card in hand. Wurmcoil is pretty good here. I like that. Wurmcoil Delta. Attack with Inkwell and then reanimate the Wurmcoil. Persist. Now we have some life gain. This is looking pretty good right now. Port of Calling. So that's pretty good with this Vizier of Poisons. Yeah, that's annoying. So they're gonna make a bunch of Death Touch creatures, and our list doesn't have like a main deck answer to that. Are we dead? Might be dead here. Oh, they're going after the Wurmcoil? I don't even know how much that matters. Oh, they just have infinite life loss. Right? Or I guess it's not infinite. Because you don't... Am I wrong? It might be infinite. Oh, it is infinite. Alright, so we're just dead. Yeah, them the beats. Okay. So the verdicts seem pretty good here. I don't know how good these targets are, if I'm being honest, but I don't think we have a whole lot that's better. Brutality's probably okay. It's definitely not a Snapcaster matchup. Those can go. Let's try this. I wonder if I could have played that better. I just felt like Inkwell was way too slow. Okay, and we are on the play. Unmarked Grave, but no Persist. I think I'm going to try this. We can use Marsh Flats to go get a Hallowed Fountain, and then I guess we can't cast the Faithful Mending. I looked at it as 2 lands we can cast Mending, but I guess it's not true, because this doesn't tap for white or blue. Maybe this hand isn't as good as I thought it was. Hit Fountain. Okay, and we can now Mending, so that's kind of nice. We're gonna want to get the... Okay, that's fine. Godless Shrine here, because that gives us white for Supreme Verdict that our opponent doesn't know about quite yet. And then we'll cast Mending. Perfect. Hit the Persist. How lucky. And this will kill the wall, which I like, because that stops them from playing Evolution next turn. By Wall of Roots. And you want to leave up Hallowed Fountain in case you draw Consider. And, wow. I'm just, like, really good at naming stuff this league, I guess. Little surprised that the Reanimator deck isn't playing Thoughtseize, because the fact that you can Thoughtseize yourself and then turn 2 Persist seems very good. Almost Legacy-esque. You're also really good at protecting your creatures because they're not as powerful as they are in Legacy. So in Legacy, you don't care if your Griselbrand dies half the time because you just drew 10 cards. Well, with Archon, not quite as good. So I guess I'm just trying to emphasize the fact that like I'm kind of shocked that people don't play Thoughtseize. Okay, another Archon. Probably just gonna exile the Drell's Messenger. White. Undo. Blue, white, black. There we go. That way I don't take an extra 2 life off the Persist. Okay, get in there. Woot woot. Young Wolf. And a Wall of Roots. So I think that's just game. I could be wrong. So neither of those blocks flying. If we get in there, they lose 3. Then yeah, they should just be dead here. Okay, so we have gotten game number 2. We just have to steal game number 3 now. I don't think I want to change anything about the board plan. In theory, you can board enforce a negation, but I don't think that's really the card you want in this matchup. They do have some cards like Court of Calling, but they also are just a creature deck, so there's a pretty good chance that card ends up being dead. You could argue that maybe you're supposed to board and counterspell, but it's a little bit mana intensive. This hand's pretty good. We're going to keep this. Turn 3, Archon of Cruelty. Possibly a turn 2 creature if we get lucky with Consider. Draw. Okay. Another Hierarch, sure. They missed their land drop. Give me Supreme Verdict. Get the Hallowed Fountain. Consider. I'm gonna bin that. Draw. Okay, change of plans. I'm going to eat one of these creatures, keep them off mana. Maybe we can cast Consider on their end step. Ooze, okay. Definitely want that Supreme Verdict now. Or another Prismatic Ending. Consider. Yeah, that land can go to the graveyard. Temple. Well, I don't want to bin that. So I think we're supposed to put it on the bottom. Okay. On their end step, we can Faithful Mending. Alright, they drew a few lands in a row. Geist, okay. We're taking 4 here, going down to 11, but then up to 13 with the Faithful Mending. Okay. Mending. Another Persist. I'm not allowed to discard the Archon. I have to imagine they're going to eat that with the Scavenging Ooze. No? Brutality's pretty good here. There's no creatures in the graveyard. I can't escalate with the Archon though, or else they can because it's part of the cost. So they would get a chance then to exile Archon, and that would just bite me in the butt. I'm wondering if I should get rid of the other Persist. Like, I don't know. Okay, let's try this, and I can discard one of the Persists here. I think I have to keep the Thirst. So they're likely to exile the Faithful Mending. Yep. Oh, they have Yawgmoths in hand. Yikes. That's not good. Yep. Here comes Yawgmoth. Interesting that they didn't use Yawgmoth to kill the Geist first. I guess maybe they wanted the extra card off the Exalted trigger. That wasn't it. Okay. Let's cast, excuse me, Thirst to get Archon in the graveyard. 2 cards. We'll do both creatures. I don't know if there's another basic to fetch for. I guess there's a basic plains, I think. I'm just trying to lose less life here. Yeah. And then Persist, get back the Archon. Not shocked by them sacking the Geist. Verdict, that was a good draw. Next turn we can Supreme Verdict into Persist. Okay. Big creature. So if I block, they can kill my Archon pretty easily, so I think I'm supposed to just take it and go to 8. Alright, so we're now at 8 life. Our opponent's probably going to use the Yawgmoth now that they've untapped. So they can 3 counters here, 5 counters, and that will kill the Archon. That would put them to... Oh, they're going to end step. Okay. Kind of surprised by that. Am I allowed to attack? Get in there? So I got my trigger. Veil of Summer, okay. So this is going to knock them down to 8. I'm not sure what they're doing here. Proliferate, okay. Oh, they're adding a counter onto the Archon, that's cute. Alright, so blue, white, white, and then any color. Verdict. Auto yield to this. So keep in mind that our opponent played Veil of Summer, so when I persist the Archon, it will not be lethal if they go down to 3 life, because this ability cannot target the opponent. Okay, so they're at 7. Now we go to 6. And this ability, like I said, is going to fizzle. Should I just bring back Sphinx? I think Sphinx might actually be better here. Hope I'm not wrong. Okay. Get in there. So this is going to knock them down to 2 and we'll go up to 11. Temple. Mending seems decent. And our opponent's last opportunity to come back. Land number 4. Looks like they don't have anything. Get in there. The long pause before my combat step, hoping that I misclick. Ah, I remembered how to attack. That's so unfortunate. So unlucky. 2-0. I think Andre's onto something here. Esper Reanimator is looking pretty good despite me being terrible at Magic. Let's see if we can get the next 3. Welcome back. 3rd round. We're on the play. Persist plus Unmarked Grave. Let's snap this one off. Kind of weird how Grave Titan wasn't included in this deck. I know that it's not an artifact for Thirst for Knowledge, but it just seems fairly good as a Reanimator target that you can also just hardcast on turn 6. Sort of the way that Wurmcoil is, but maybe Grave Titan isn't good enough for Modern. That's also an entirely possible thing. Opponent is taking a mulligan here. Okay, Delta go. And we are going to want to search up a white source with this Delta. So either Hallowed Fountain or Gala Shrine. Foothills. Okay. Ouch. Snapcaster Mage. I don't even want that. I'm going to shuffle that away. Okay, so the question is, do we Prismatic Ending here? And I think no, because next turn I can double spell, so it's probably better to do that. Let's just Unmarked Grave up the Archon. I mean, Sphinx is probably really good too. Is Sphinx better? It might be. Yeah, it probably is. Okay. What is your turn to play? Eidolon of the Great Revel. Well, I am not playing a Storm deck today, so that is going to be less impactful. I don't need to play the ending this turn, so instead, I'm just going to go to 12 and reanimate our big dumb creature. Persist, getting back Sphinx. Sure. For a red lifelinker, pretty tough for them to beat. So they can suicide one of their creatures here, and then like bolt it. So that way I would go to 10, and then they could bolt, and that's not lethal, so there's no point in them attacking. I love Sphinx of this Tailwind. I have 2 of it in Japanese foil, because I originally bought the EMA one because it was like $2. And then I started getting nicer versions of all the rest of the things from my vintage deck, and I ended up getting a real one for like 15. And my real one, I mean Alara, I believe it was in originally. Lava Spike, okay. I'm at 9. That is another Lava Spike. I'm at 6. I think getting Sphinx was a pretty good choice here. Okay, let's do the easy play and attack our opponent. Okay. So I could go to 10 and exile their Goblin Guide. I'm not going to exile Eidolon because it doesn't matter to me anymore. But I think I'm just better off not losing a life altogether. Sure, I've been bolted. So even if they had Boros Charm Bolt here, because they're at 4, they can't kill me. And the fact that I'm at 8. Alright, well, Sphinx looked pretty good there. Collector Brutality is going to be an all-star, so we definitely want that. I don't think Inkwell's very good here, so that can go out. I'm not sure how good Dakkon or the Thirsts are. Also not in love with Snapcaster Mage. But Snapcaster might be getting better with Collector Brutality. Probably want Verdicts. What about like 2 Thirsts and a Dakkon? Could board Enforce a Negation. I don't know how much I love that plan though. Let's try this out. So we have Persist. No way of getting a creature to the graveyard, but this looks fairly reasonable to me. I'm going to keep this. I like that we have Prismatic Ending Dance for a 1-drop as well. I like that annoying Monastery Swiftspear. Thirst is good here because we can use that to get Wurmcoil to the bin. Get rid of that. I would also love a Collector Brutality off the top rope. Suspend Riftbolt. Ooh, and they're passing. We do not have a 3rd land, which is a little bit concerning. Need to hit land 3. It looks like our opponent's stuck on lands as well. Hopefully that gives us a little bit of a window. I'm not going to cast Snapcaster here. No reason to take extra damage. Land. Ugh. I think I'm supposed to just go to 9. Our opponent shouldn't be able to kill us. I can Thirst, discard both Wurmcoil and Archon. And it looks like our opponent is passing. Okay, let's cast that Thirst. So thirsty. Ouch, I'm at 6. 2 cards. Do I do double Archon? I think so, because of... like, reanimating 1 is just like a free 3 life. Well, that was good. Now we can reanimate both. Okay, see if we draw into a black source here. I mean, we can get another Watery Grave, but I have to bolt myself to do it. It's probably worth it in the long run. Alright, back at 6, and then up to 9. Persist again. And this should just be game. Woot woot. Even if they hit a land here, they shouldn't be able to deal me 9 damage, and they did. And then we get to attack. you know, gain more life, all that good stuff. Feels good beating Burn. Rio, Esper Reanimator. Andre's clearly onto something. 2 more matches left to go. Another good hand and another keep. Unmarked Grave, Persist. Easy peasy. Let's just do our thing. Unfortunately, we're on the draw. So turn 3 on the draw for our creature. Probably still fine, but a little bit slow. I do wish that this deck had Thoughtseize in the main. Nothing against Andre's innovation of Thirst for Knowledge, but if those were Thoughtseizes, this deck would just be so insane. I just don't know if you need it. Like, also, like, I don't hate the idea of just, like, main deck Collector Brutalities, too. Like, those seem really good to me. Alright, Temple. You don't need another one of that. Get out of here. We're facing Footfalls, which has Force and Negations and Endurance, so our deck is going to be less good against Footfalls. Another Crashing Footfall suspended. Let's cast Unmarked Grave and hope that our opponent doesn't have any interaction. I think we get Archon. You could argue that maybe you're supposed to get Sphinx, but this deck also plays Brazen Borrower. So if that's the case, I think you want Archon just to make sure that you get some value out of it. Persist. Am I allowed to have it? Ooh. Was not expecting that. Oh, I drew the Swamp. That's a bummer. In my head, I was like, maybe I was supposed to fetch for Swamp with the Persist trigger on the stack, or the come into play ability on the stack. Ooh, another Rhino. And then I was like, oh, I should get the Swamp in case they have main deck Blood Moons. Blood Moon's usually a sideboard card, but I was like, maybe, just in case. Me thinking about it, that was clearly the mistake here. I'm just going to fetch now. Let's just get a basic. They have another Outburst in hand. They do have another Persist, so if they have another Outburst, I can Persist. If they didn't have Outburst, maybe they have Bolt. Or, oh no, they don't play Bolt, so like Fire Ice. Sure. I'll take that. Yep. Alright, so the last card in hand is not Force and Negation, or else I would have came into play untapped. Persist. Unmarked Grave. Ooh, so, or I'm sorry, Snapcaster. So I can Unmarked Grave right here, the next turn Snapcaster Persist. That's actually pretty good. First case where Snapcaster is going to end up being useful. This should be Rhinos. Yep. Yeah, I don't even care about those Rhinos. Get out of here. Okay. Snapcaster. You're going to see Concession? We will. Game 1 over Rhinos. So we probably want Supreme Verdict if I had to guess. Counterspell seems decent. I don't think Ending is actually good against Rhinos, so that can go out. Probably want Teferi. 2 cards still need to leave. I think it's just Thirst for Knowledge again. I don't like the idea of Collector Brutality because it doesn't hit a lot of the cards that I care about, like Endurance or Brazen Borrower or Blood Moon. It's part of the same reason I'm not boarding in the Force and Negations here. And Ending's just not a good card against Rhinos. Like, yeah, it's one way exile a Rhino, but that's not the game plan you want to be doing. So I think that this is what I'm going to do here. Great hand. Keep. Maybe we'll get lucky and rip one of the Teferis off the top. Suspend Rhinos? Yep. Colored Fountain. I like Counterspell. So the Counterspell is pretty interesting. I wonder if I'm supposed to turn 2 Unmarked Grave, turn 3 don't reanimate, turn 4 reanimate with Counterspell backup. Facing my land. Sure. So that does delay me by a turn. I guess not really. I can do that all next turn as well. Gonna Blood Moon me? Please Blood Moon me. I have all these basics. Another Footfall suspended. Sure. Getting the swamp. I just want to be able to beat Blood Moon. Am I supposed to play that here? Probably not. Unmarked Grave. Footfalls. Next turn, those will unsuspend. That is not how Gemstone Caverns works, my friend. Okay, so I can play the plains and then persist, holding up counterspell. Come on, play endurance. Wanted them to go down 2 cards just to eat my counterspell. Nope. Another Dakkon, okay. So they should get some Rhinos here. Another Borrower. Brutal. Alright, so we go to 20. We can play Dakkon, remove one of the Rhinos. And I'm just going to do this while they're tapped out. Faithful Mending. Okay. Probably killing Dakkon here if I had to guess. Yeah, Dakkon down. Right, back to 20. Dakkon. Ooh, I should have kept the Inkwell in hand in case they had endurance here. That's a misplay on my part. Let's flash back to Mending. Don't need the lands, those can go. It's worth noting they're at 14 life, and my creature has Island Walk, and they have an island, and my creature has 7 power. So their time left on this planet is very short, unless they do something pretty quickly here. 3 mana, 4 mana. Jace the Mind Sculptor. This keyword Shroud right here looking pretty good. And they are digging. They gonna concede to Inkwell? Draw. Your Jace does not matter. For what it's worth, the artifact creatures have seemed good. Thirst for Knowledge, not so much, but the artifact creatures have seemed great. Let's Faithful Mending. Just get out of reach from dying. I guess we get rid of a land. Faithful Mending. Whoops, I must have mistapped. White, blue. Mending. You can get rid of the lands here. Then persist back the Archon. Force a negation, sure. Alright, well, I don't think you have an out to my Inkwell. Going down to 5 life. 3 life. Am I wrong? Do you secretly have an out? The Cryptic Command? Tapping my creature? It might actually make sense. Why they would also shock right there? Get in there? Okay. You have Rhinos. 4-0. 1 round left to go. Can we get the trophy with Andre's Esper Reanimator featuring an artifact package? Let's find out. Let's get it. 1 match win left to go. That's all we need. Alright. This hand seems fine. Once again, Thirst for Knowledge. If this costs 2, it could allow us to have a turn 3 Archon, but a little bit clunky. I do like the main deck endings, though. We don't want that. What are you playing, NorthLagos? Alright, we're just going to play Temple here. We have no reason to play the Strand. Do I want land 4? I don't think so. Breeding Pool, that's spicy. Alright, let's try to resolve the Dakkon here. Blue, black, white, Esper mana, Dakkon. Force and negation, so we are facing Rug again. Okay. They pitched a Shardless agent. So maybe they don't have ooh, they missed a land. Draw. It looks like they're going to try to ice us in our upkeep. We're going to cast this Thirst for Knowledge. Okay, so here's ice. Thirst. Archon and Mending. Draw. Alright, not a land. We have to pass. And they hit land 3. Rhinos incoming. Yep. 10 power. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. Alright, so let's persist. Auto yield to that. We can ending 1 Rhino and then consider. Alright, ending. Consider. I'll actually keep that because it allows me to put another Archon into play next turn. And this time I'm not going to block. Our life total is high enough where I don't want to risk this creature dying. Nope. Okay. Another agent. I believe our opponent's just dead now, unless they have another force of negation. So get in there. They're going to take 8 down to 3, and then we Unmarked Grave, Persist, another Archon. Okay. Unmarked Grave. And Persist. This deck's sweet. Wooch wooch. 1 game away. Andre's making this look easy for me. The Fury coming back in because it stops endurance. Counter spells. Get rid of these. Like I mentioned, you don't really want to be trading 1-for-1 with Rhinos. I think we brought out 2 Thirst last time. What else did I board out? Was it the snaps? I feel like it might have been. Let's try it. Snapcaster is admittedly not very good against the endurance deck, so it makes sense why I'd board it out. Do I hit land number 2 is the question with this hand. Find out. Well, we haven't found or faced any real hate yet this league. And there's a ley line, so that's going to be tough for me to beat. Alright, well, we hit a land. We need to find and protect a fairy. Sulfur Falls Pass. I don't know if I want to cast Consider here. Maybe I do just for counterspell. Consider. I have to bin it. I don't know if we're going to get this one. Alright, they're passing, so they don't have land 3. That's a good sign. Get rid of Consider in this Unmarked Grave. Dakkon would be nice. I think I'm just going to play Temple. We don't have much going on right now, and they hit land 3. That's bad news bears. Gonna wait till our end step. That's wise. I mean, we didn't draw it, but they played around our Supreme Verdict this way. Yep. They still have 5 cards in hand. Alright, so we're being put in the spot of find your Supreme Verdict right now. Still have 4 cards in hand. Alright, let's start off by fetching because it gets... Like, I know that we have a couple cards on the bottom, but it gets a land out of the deck. Maybe it's not the right move, but that's what I'm doing. And then Thirst, hoping to hit the Verdict. And we did not. Yikes. Alright, so we have 3 looks on our turn. Our draw step plus Consider. Draw. Consider. Not Supreme Verdict. Okay, so we lost game number 2. Leyline did a number on us there. Am I supposed to bring in Collector Brutality? Jace doesn't seem very good either, but it's technically a way of beating Leyline. I don't really feel like that's what I want to be doing. Alright, I'm going to try this out. Can I keep that? I don't love this, but I think it's reasonable enough. Their opponent's deciding on their 7. Alright, our opponent's also decided to take a mulligan. We're going to keep this in bottom Unmarked Grave. I think that our opponent was most likely considering, do they keep a hand without Leyline or do they mulligan? And I think that they've selected to mulligan looking for a Leyline of the Void. Okay, and they kept a 6 with Leyline and Gemstone. 3 cards left in hand. And we're going to pass. Okay. So if they have a turn 2 Cascade spell, we are definitely in trouble. We have counter spell. We can technically counter the Crashing Footfalls. Inkwell is secretly a good draw, because if we can get up to 6 counters, we can put it into play off the Dakkon. And it looks like they're going for the Cascade spell. Blood Moon. Alright, well I have to counterspell that. Alright, deck, give me a land. Land! Ah, that's a bummer. Needed a hit right there. And we probably just lost. Ah, 5-0 down the drain. You might be thinking, well, like, why did you get a Watery Grave right there? We needed it for slamming Dakkon. Yeah. I think we just got KO'd. Bummer. Step 1. Alright, so now we need to draw the island followed by the swamp. No big deal. Okay. They're not doing a whole lot over there. What are you doing? Is your hand just all interaction? Alright, basic land. Gonna ice my plains, sure. Another consider. Alright, so we're just gonna sit here and take our lumps. Hopefully our opponent just draws their Cascade spell and kills me. We're not winning this. Supreme Verdict. Never casting that. Oh, they drew Crashing Footfalls. Okay, so we'll be dead in like 5 turns. Third one of these Archons, I guess. Hey, there they go. Draw. Sweet. Okay. 2 hits from these Rhinos and we are dead. First hit. Just for good measure, you know, no big deal. Sweet. Well, we did get up to 6 lands before we died. They're tanking. I'm not even going to let them swing. I gave them the opportunity to attack me for lethal, and they started tanking. Not going to allow that. But we went 4-1. I mean, that's pretty good. So, I'll be honest. Andre, I'm sorry. Thirst for Knowledge, not that good. I know you tried to include the artifact package with Thirst, Dakkon, and then these lovely targets. Dakkon and the creatures were good. Thirst stinks, I'm sorry. I'd like to see main deck Thoughtseize if possible, and maybe even main deck Collector Brutality. The Reanimator side of this deck felt very good. I didn't play that well this league, and the deck just carried me, so it's very, very powerful. Hopefully you enjoyed watching it. You know, I would say keep storming or something along those lines, but this isn't a storm deck, a little bit awkward. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Have a great day. See ya. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.